Evening all. Mr. Joyce, you represent farmers for many of whom you've rightly tried to get government assistance for drought. For example, in February last year you were asking Cabinet for a $7 billion bailout package for farmers in parts of Queensland and New South Wales gripped by severe drought, with crops failing and starving cattle dying at alarming rates as debt-laden landholders or landowners waited for rain. Joe Hockey played down prospects of a drought bailout package, saying farmers need to adjust to the swings and roundabouts of a tough country. Mr. Hockey said farmers already have access to existing assistance programs, including the Exceptional Circumstances Payment and a new scheme that starts from July the 1st. But Joe Hockey's wrong about the swings and roundabouts of the climate patterns of yesterday. Australia's climate has been ruined by 227 years of forest clearing. As deforestation is the main cause of climate change or climate ruin, though no one seems willing to admit this as yet, preferring to blame CO2 emissions. This graph from the Bureau of Meteorology shows Australia's annual average temperatures over a 104-year period, 1910 to 2014. You can see since I was born about 1949, there's been a steady increase in annual average temperature, so that by now 2014-15 there's been an increase in annual average temperature of approximately 1.25 degrees. The trend is up and is bound to increase, get steeper or accelerate, as we're now in climate death spiral. See below. During the so-called Quaternary Ice Age of approximate duration 2 million years, there were 5 cold or glacial stages called Donau, Günz, Mindel, Riss and Würm to give them their European names, and these were interspersed with warm or interglacial stages or phases. But these changes took place slowly over thousands and tens of thousands of years. Australia is perhaps the world's most deforested country. For example, little left to lose, deforestation and forest degradation in Australia since European colonisation by Corey J. A. Bradshaw, Journal of Plant Ecology, 2012. Since white settlement in 1788 in Australia, we've killed about 2 out of every 3 trees. That is a 60 to 70% tree loss. We deforested for wheat, sheep, cattle, dairy, mining, housing, sprawl, roads, you name it, and 2/3 of our remaining eucalypt forests have been thinned for grazing, or so one reads. Just to reiterate, deforestation means climate ruin, believe it or not. From this forest biodiversity plot or condition plot, you can see just how little of our precious forests we have left. Dark green areas show forest in dense, pristine or untouched condition and are given condition 1. And we can see much the same thing from the satellite image of New South Wales, just a little more close up. Our forests are beautiful, gifts of nature like the oceans. Our forests moderate climate, e.g. forests are a continent's evaporative cooling installations. Air is cooled as water evaporates from their leaves, and pacify weather, e.g. slow winds, so no tornadoes. Forests produce rain clouds for reliable rainfall, soak up flood rains and release them slowly as clear drinkable streams. No huge runoffs, floods or inland tsunamis. How do we treat our forests? Like disposable rubbish. The worst news is whole forests are dying worldwide from drought stress that we've caused. This means we now have spiralling tree loss and we are in climate death spiral, ready or not. And we have trees dying in the worst bushfires this planet has ever seen, and still we have people chainsawing forests and burning their remains. If you want to scare yourself, have a look at the Catalyst program on worldwide tree deaths from drought stress. Every tree that dies or is killed is another nail in the coffin of climate. I think the days of outdoor agriculture or climate-exposed agriculture are over, Mr. Joyce, but fortunately the vertical farm can save us all. And if you see our koalas and wombats and kangaroos struggling to survive in droughts that we've caused, don't shoot them. We need them to try and survive as best they can. Help them out or leave them alone. Vertical farms, what are these? I'm talking here about the big shed big shed type vertical farm, not the glass towers or glass multi-storey buildings, which are a sort of a superseded idea. In these big shed vertical farms, you can use a pre-existing shed or build a new one. As long as it's climate tight, it's got to be a totally controlled environment. You grow plant protein crops. There's no animal fat or agrochemical residues in your foods. You grow these protein crops in layers using red and blue LED growth lights, hydroponically in a totally controlled environment. Temperature and humidity are controlled. There is minimum water use, bug-free. Fertilizers, none wasted, no runoff. This method can produce healthy, tasty, yum food and clever jobs for the world. Now these plant protein crops you grow, that's your cereals or grains like wheat, corn. There's the nuts, peanuts, cashews, etc. And then there's the legumes, which means pickable pods, peas, beans, chickpeas, lentils. You make these preferably vegan foods with no animal products whatsoever. You've got, for example, in the top right, your not chicken nuggets, which are delicious. Won't give you a fat backside or a heart attack from animal fat. The not bacon is delicious without all the fat. You've got the beautiful little veggie roasts down the bottom right, which are great with vegan gravy. You can have a falafel roll with chickpea falafels instead of a greasy kebab. Anyway, no end of vegan foods you can find hidden in the supermarket somewhere. If we can get away from animal products, that'll save a lot of people from having heart attacks from animal fat. That'll save our health system billions. And also, we can finally tell obese people the truth about what's causing their obesity. No, it's not sugar, etc., or junk food. It's overeating meat, eggs, fish and dairy from 2 to 10 times their protein requirement, stuffing themselves on chicken and beef and sausages and bacon and whatever. We need to tell the truth to people so they get their lives under control and they're not hopelessly overweight with diabetes, making their own lives impossible and overloading our health system. Mr. Joyce, I reckon you'll appreciate not having a heart attack from animal fat, and I reckon Aussie farmers will adapt well to the big shed vertical farms, growing plant protein crops, solar panels on the roof to run those red and blue LED lights, and the value-added foods you can make from those protein crops will provide a lot of extra jobs for people as well. There'll be clever jobs for just about everybody, I reckon, in vertical farms. And vegan diets, that'll be a little strange to get used to for most people. What do you reckon? What do you reckon, Mr. Joyce? Do you reckon you might ever build a vertical farm yourself? Good luck.